ID. It's gonna be 5 at the door. All right. All right, you're good. You go inside. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm spreading my wings. I'm spreading my wings. I've been doing this DIY emo band stuff for a while. I've been wanting to get I think DIY rap is fucking so sick, and I'm trying to dive more into that. So I was pointing in the direction of fucking Neo Kiio, and I've got Neo Kiio on here. Say what's up.
What is up, everybody?
Hey, all right. So, let's I listened to let me pull this up. I listened to first of all the new single Amazing World of Neo. So good. Like
Thanks.
listening to that and then listening to Day into Dreams, the record you released last year. It's got like there's so much I want to talk about because there's like so much Anamanaguchi. There's so much like old school, like just the beeps and boops and everything are just like so good. This with this Nintendo core thing. Let's kind of like let's go through the lore. Let's start from the fucking beginning. Why did you want to start this stuff? It's so cool. I want to hear like your take on your own history.
A take on my own history. Well, kind of just started like in high school. I got together with some friends. And we all just kind of wanted to make music. And, at first we weren't taking it all too serious. Um, Honestly, like in the beginning, like me making music was like a secret. It was like something I was literally like I would maybe would put some of the songs on SoundCloud, but like I was not like promoting this really.
Mhm.
Like maybe I would tweet about it, but basically I wasn't like, I wasn't like really trying to be a musician of any sort. You know what I mean? Um,
I
and
get that. SoundCloud was like also the place for that, where you could just start posting.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how it started. And just like over time, it kind of developed tidbits. But I met some friends in college who like encouraged me to like try and like actually like perform and actually like, you know, so try to be a
Yeah,
musician. And I don't know, I started doing shows and then I kind of fell off for a second and then I kind of came because I used to like go like I've gone by like many names if you go through like the full history, like Neo
okay, cool.
Kiio. It's just like I think that's where we're staying. That what is gonna always be me. Like, but yeah, it definitely took some time to get here. Um, as far as like the like the Nintendo core like type shit that you mentioned, I just always had a love for video games, and like in my mind, like music is an escapism, at least avenue in my brain. Or like I said, that's kind of like how it started. Video games were kind of the same thing. So like I just felt like it kind of just went together, and I I would eventually write an album that I put out in 2020 under an old name that was just about like kind of like the theme was kind of like, anxiety and stuff like that, a common theme in my music. And I felt like masks like this really, encapsulated that vibe. So I would
Yeah.
eventually, design one that kind of fit me best. And that's how we got here.
I'm kind of obsessed with the escapism part of it, and I'm also obsessed with now the shedding of the skin of the new names that you pick. Uh so like there's kind of like each so how many names have you had in your projects over the course of and when did all this start? Like, within the last like 8 years or something like that?
Pretty much, yeah. You hit the nail on it. It's probably been about we're in
Damn it.
2025. I would say this started the fucking around with music shit probably started in like 2015, 2016.
Hell yeah.
The getting serious probably happened 2018, 2019. So, yeah, how many names have I gone through? Um, technically 4, if I'm not mistaken. Neo
Sure.
Kiio is the 4th name. Um, yeah.
That's cool. I like that, there's I feel like that there's when I started my band, it I wasn't sure what to call it, and so it ended up being this thing where I was like, there were a bunch of names that I was going to use, but I feel like when you laying it on it, there is always a moment where like um it's kind of opened up for you once you land on the thing that you want it to be. Um, when you decided to land back on Neo Kiio, was there like this moment where you're like, yes, this is exactly who I am now and who I want to be? And so you're kind of like also chasing this version of yourself while you're choosing this name?
That is, yeah, no, like, once again, you kinda hit the nail on the head because like, um, in my early names, like, were connected to, like, my real name,
Uh-huh.
and then
Sure.
I'll just say one of them, like, the previous one, previous to Neo Kiio was
Cool.
Kiio,
Mhm.
um, and that was kind of like a name I picked when, I was, uh, still working a lot with, like, my friends and, I wasn't still when I made that name, I still wasn't fully taking shit completely serious yet.
Mhm.
And I didn't really know what my, complete brand was gonna be, so, like, I had, um I was still rapping about the video game, like, vibe was kind of always there, even if you go back to the beginning,
Mhm.
which no one but me can, but, uh, 'cause I tweeted all that shit, but, it have like, when I was just thinking one day, like, about how I wanted to, like, adjust my name for, like, various reasons, like,
Mhm.
this was probably in, like, 2022 when I was sitting there thinking, and, I eventually landed on this name, and I don't know, I just loved how it rhymed with Neo Geo, and I loved how, like, it still, like, kept Keo in it. Like you
Mhm.
said, I didn't really think of it at the time as, like, shedding the skin or evolving, but I guess that's kind of like what it is. Like, 'cause, I kept part of each name, like, just slightly altered it and eventually landed here, so, I don't know, I never thought that hard about it, though. You got me thinking right now.
I'm doing my job. That's
Right.
exactly. Hell yeah. I love it's just there's something about letting yourself like I think it's cool that you can change your name. Like there's kind of like a weird stigma in band world where like once you pick it, you kind of have to keep going. Like there's this band Equipment that is talked about like, oh, we don't sound like this name anymore. And they've talked about like they joke about how like it's really hard to Google the band name Equipment. Like it's and so like there's stuff that they've always like thought about changing, but they've just stuck to their guns because there is this stigma about changing your name. And there's the only genre that I can think of where there is kind of a fluidity and it's acceptable is rap, where like there are a lot of people that have past monikers and they want to do something different. Like I just think it's really cool that, you can do that and wanted to do that. And now you feel like, okay, cool. This is the one that I want to stick with.
Yeah, no, totally. And there still was that stigma about it. Like it's not I know exactly what you mean. And by the way, I'm hip to Equipment. Shout out
Oh,
Equipment.
fuck
But
yeah, dude.
there was like because I was hesitant, and every time I was a little hesitant. Every time I changed my name, I was a little hesitant to do it, especially with the last name, because once you performed under something and like you've like released music under something and it's done it's at least you've had a couple songs that have done like relatively well.
Hmm.
You're like, if I change my name, it's like I'm starting from scratch, you know? And also it kind of like you're like letting go of all the work you've done. Not that it like didn't mean anything, because it absolutely did, but it just is like I don't know. I definitely felt it. It took me like a whole year. Like I said, I was sitting here thinking about this name change thing in 2022, but I didn't actually do it until 2023.
Mhm.
So I sat like, and I tend to do this a lot. Like it's a bad habit of mine. Like I like get what I like to call analysis paralysis.
Sure,
Where
dude.
I
Absolutely.
yeah. So I'm just sitting there thinking about like the pros and cons of like what happens if I change my name. But eventually I just had to be like, I gotta change the name because it's just like what my heart is telling me to do.
Mhm.
So
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because it's like it sounds like everything's kind of grounded in this too. The Neo Kiio idea, the art that you use, the branding is there, the mask, the it feels like you're comfortable. This is like you're so comfortable in this new version of yourself. It's like you knew you had to do it because you were gonna land so safely in it.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, let's kind of talk about like the single and the most recent record you did. Like, I love it. It's so cool. There's like, what would you say, from Masakio to Neo Kio, what's the main differences you wanted to show music wise? And if there are any, or if this is just like, I'm just continuing doing this thing.
I mean, it was a mixture of the 2, like, I'm continuing on because, like with Days in the Dreams, you know, I did lean more into, like, a hyper pop type of vibe, like, on
Sure.
a good amount of the songs, so that was kinda coincidental, I did realize that I'm changing my name as I'm leaning heavily into a sound that I have kind of had in the past, but at the same time, I've never leaned this much into it.
Hmm.
Uh, that was kind of coincidental, though I was like aware
Hmm.
of it. Um, so in my brain at the moment, I was just kind of like, I'm kind of leaning more into what I'm doing, because I used to like that mask I pulled out, like back when I was Misakio, I was just kind of wearing like this mask, like
Hmm.
this. When I became Neo Kio, that's when I like took one of these masks, sawed it in half, put the stars on it and stuff, and you know. Sound wise, I just kind of am. I don't think I'm like extremely different from like what I was before,
Sure.
but I've I've evolved, kind of like you
Yeah.
were saying.
It's like it's a shinier version of it. It feels like every time that you're peeling more off, it has like a more definitive idea where it's like you're zooming in on it and it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. So
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, like the record is great. I remember the first track that like that really stuck out to me, not because it's incredible, but just I love the name, the time that I reincarnated as a black kid in America. Like it's so genius to think of yourself like think of like as an isekai kind of like thing like that. And it's just so good. Like I what is the relationship that you have with like there's an anime vibe, there's all this stuff. What are the things that you were watching? I should have been asking this the entire podcast. Like, what are you watching while you're making this record? What are you listening to while you're making this record? Like, this is I want to know. And then, like, what animes were you watching? Because I'm a huge anime guy too.
oh yeah, I'm a huge anime guy. I mean, obviously with song titles like that,
Yeah, dog.
I am. But what was I watching at the time as I was writing this record? Well, you know, if you'll so I wasn't necessarily watching this at the
Mhm,
time, but had a lot to do with the album. You'll probably notice, like, if you look at any of my social media profile pictures right now, you'll see the same anime cat that is Artemis from Sailor Moon.
yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
Luna's girlfriend, or like I'm not sure who the Artemis is in Sailor Moon.
Artemis is like the so so there was Usagi, who's like Sailor Moon, and then her cat was Luna.
Yeah.
And then there's this other character in the show that's kind of like, I mean, he kind of becomes Luna's boyfriend. Um, but Artemis is the other Sailor Guardian's cat, who's
Okay,
kind of like,
cool.
I don't know what to call her. I guess you would call her like Sailor Moon's like closest friend, partner. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, but that Sailor Moon was like a show. It was like one of the first anime I watched as a kid. And
So good. I mean, like, I remember being a kid and just being obsessed with Tuxedo Mask and just like loving the whole thing. Like it was such a Toonami thing for me. Like it's Sailor Moon, I feel like is in everyone's past and some people's current fucking present.
yeah, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And it just fit because a lot of the themes that I'm talking about in the record, in Days in the Dreams and Amazing World of Neo sort of is connected to this too. It's speaking a lot about like, my childhood, like when I was younger, when I was in middle school, high school, like shit I was going through at the time.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to use like kind of like the imagery that the me of like, you know, the me in like 2013, like what imagery would I have used back then?
Totally.
Like obviously branding it in the way that like the current me is like, okay, I'm cool with this, but at the same time, like, you know, like even the song you mentioned, That Time I Reincarnate as a Black Kid in America, it's talking a lot about like about me like when I was in school. And like shit I was dealing with at that time. So that's like why the branding is kind of going back. Like you're gonna continue to see that for a while as I like continue through this
Mhm.
next because I've got this next album I'm working on, which I won't spoil too much, but it's the partnered album with Days and Dreams.
Cool.
And you're gonna continue to see like old anime be a theme as like branding and shit like that, and old video games too. But as far as what I was watching at the time as I'm like writing this album, oh man, it's like what was I watching? I watch so much shit. Well,
Yeah.
I'd almost have to bring up like my anime list thing to like jog my memory a bit. Um, Hold on, let me see if I can get that up real quick because I am
Hell
kind of
yeah.
blanking. I mean, I want to say
No,
like
it's interesting.
yeah, I want to say something like oh, what was coming out at the time? Because I gotta like
I think like during that time was I don't know how to pronounce it. It's
Freeland,
Freeland.
Freeland. Thank you. That's a start. That's a start. I was definitely watching that. I was 1000% watching that
Hell
as
yeah.
I was like making this shit. Uh, uh, Hold on, I'm getting my list up.
Now, what are you watching on? Are you watching on like a Crunchyroll, or are you watching it like? I
Yeah,
mean, Hulu has a great anime selection, and Netflix is pretty good. But like Netflix anime is pretty mid, I would say. But like that's just
there's
my own personal opinion.
there's a couple good Netflix anime, and now that you mention it, Cyberpunk, the
Yes,
adaptation was
yes.
definitely one of the ones that I was watching at the time.
Hmm.
Uh, Um,
Yeah, there's a total cyberpunk thing with your sound as well. Like I could totally see a through line there.
oh yeah, Cyberpunk, like, and that's what I say a lot in like, because I don't know how like normal or what this is or isn't, but like, you know, I'll get asked about like who are your inspirations, and just since I bring it up, you're always gonna hear me mention Kid Cudi, Tyler the Creator,
Uh-huh.
um 100 Gex,
Total 100x
Our
vibes.
children, like you're gonna hear me mention Lincoln Park. I must always mention Lincoln Park. You're gonna hear me mention like those names pretty much every time,
Mhm.
but I'm always gonna want to be like, yo, I also want to mention like how much anime, like literally, like sometimes I'm watching an episode of an anime and it like literally makes me like a beat starts playing in my head. So, yeah, I don't know how normal of a thing that is for an artist to like do. To like, I don't know, like other artists like are watching an anime or maybe like a movie or something, and it's
Uh-huh.
suddenly like a song starts playing in their head, but that's I would say more often than not, that is like what happens. Like I'm watching something and then a song starts playing in my head, and then I just gotta go pause it and go make that song.
Yeah, that's I mean that is I mean I love the concept of just like the inspiration is just comes from lots of places, right? So when you draw from that well, it can be from like I when I'm writing sometimes it's because of a misheard lyric and I'm like, "Oh, I love wait, hold on. What's the actual one? What did I hear?" And then I write down what I heard instead. I'm like, "Oh wait, no, this is," and like and that's where like the inspiration will come or like I'll be watching some movie and like it'll I think that it makes a lot of sense where you just start hearing music in your head and you're like I have to just everyone just shut the fuck up. I have to like record this really quick. I love that you draw the well from from anime and from probably video games where you're like fuck I have to stop and just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, video games too. We haven't even mentioned that enough,
Yeah,
but yeah, I,
we'll get to video games.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been playing them enough, which is funny to say because it used to be an obsession to the point where like my parents were like, "Look, you like are neglecting your life to play video games. Like you need to chill out." And now I don't know, kind of as I've gotten more and more serious about music. Unfortunately, it just like gives you less time for that shit. But
Sure.
I still find the time though. Just haven't been in like the past maybe year, but
Totally. What are you playing? Or if you are imagining somebody listening to your record, what do you hope that they're playing?
oh, I hope that they're playing.
It's like
Uh,
there's a kind of like because you mentioned the Neo Geo thing, there's a
uh,
lot of like I can imagine myself like playing like King of Fighters, like and what and listening to your record.
yeah, definitely. Like from the Neo Geo perspective, King of Fighters was definitely one that I've like always loved. Metal Slug was like another one
Sure.
that I've always loved. Um, yeah, and as far as like what I imagine people playing as they're listening to my music, I don't know, maybe like like Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah,
like
dog. I mean, you have like there's a part I'm not sure which song it is, but I was listening front to back. There's you did like the dream. What am I feeling? What the intro from Kingdom Hearts? You kind of did a play on that, if I remember that.
yeah, you know what? I definitely do remember doing something like that. So you're probably right. Um,
I don't remember exactly where it was, but I remember hearing like I think it's a transition between songs or like it's in the middle of like a break in a song where you did the if I remember correctly, or specifically from Kingdom Hearts, where it's the part where he's like, I've been having a lot of weird feelings lately, and it's that intro shit. And it's like that is I'm pretty sure shoot me if I'm wrong, but that's like the first line of the whole series.
yeah, yes, it is. And you know what? I didn't even realize that because I think what you're talking about is there is when you're listening to Days and the Dreams, there's like I'm like sampling, not sampling, but I am at the end of songs and you're right, it's a transition. It's a transition between one of the songs. I think it's signing out in the Neon Dreamland, or maybe it's reversed. I don't know. I Another anime I must mention is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah,
Uh,
come on.
so that another childhood like love, but I like took lines that could like I'll be honest with you. I've watched these shows like Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, like a lot of these old anime. I've like watched them to like an obsessive degree to where like I know like as I'm watching an episode, I can literally like say the lines with them.
Mhm.
So what I did a lot to make these transitions is like I like am pulling from lines in those shows and like connecting them, like sentence mixing them together to
Sure.
like say a certain thing. So I know what you're talking about. It is very similar to the Kingdom Hearts intro, and I didn't even realize that. But you're
Okay,
right.
cool. That's so funny because that was I bet like that was from I just can't wait to go and listen to this again after talking to you because there's just going to be, I want to pull out more stuff. Because like the only anime that I was ever like really obsessed with, there are a lot of records where I've been obsessed with where I want to like pick and pull and show this and show that. But like the only one I could probably do that anime wise is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like that's the one that I've watched just like I think 4 times, and it's just like it gets better every time. I think that it actually makes me really want to rewatch the original series because I still find that original that plus like the 2 movies after it with original Fullmetal Alchemist is still really good, and it's different and it's strange, and they got to like kind of do whatever they want with it because they passed the books when they were making it. But that is like a whole other hour conversation of like the compare and contrast of those two fucking series. So hell yeah. So while you're working on these kinds of things and you're working on this music, what are, who are your inspirations when it comes to like the sound that you're looking for? Yeah, obviously rap wise, I could totally see the Tyler Creator. We could totally see the Kid Cudi thing. But your sound is so different. So what is the thing that you're pulling from the well wise when it comes to this Nintendo Core Beats thing that you're trying to do?
Um, yeah,
Even hyperpop, right? It's kind of just like slow hyperpop.
yeah. This is where I'd have to like start mentioning like composers from like from video games. So that's kind of where it's coming from. Um, so like and at this point, we mentioned it enough. If anybody wants to go look up my like original stuff, like it's Masakio Masakio. It's the dead page that I'm
But it is
pretty much
your Twitter still. That is how I found you.
that's still some of my Twitter handles. So it's still kind of there because there was a point when I first changed the name, I was like, maybe like I'll do both. I don't know. But then I thought about it. I'm like, nah, it doesn't make sense. It's just gonna make everything confusing.
Sure.
But when you go back to listen to those records, and even in the Amazing World of Neo, because the Amazing World of Neo is a sample from oh, it's an anime I didn't really like watch. I just know the composer, and they had like worked on other stuff, so I was just like listening to stuff they'd composed, and then I found that sample. But anyway, I was very sample heavy when I was Masakio, and I was just sampling video game like you know um a soundtrack, and like this is like the moment where I have to mention like people like Naganuma who like worked on like the Jet Set Radio soundtrack and worked on a
Beautiful.
Sonic soundtrack, specifically Sonic Rush, the best. Now
No.
I can't stress best soundtrack of all, but it's up there. It's up there.
I
It
mean,
is up
Sonic
there.
soundtracks, despite like their games, like the Sonic soundtracks are always known for being like incredible. Those are that's all S-tiered shit. I mean, I wonder. I should probably ask some people that are or put that to the internet just find out what's the best fucking, because that's a bold goddamn claim. That's a bold fucking claim to say it was from Sonic Rush.
Listen, the Sonic. Okay, so I'm like ingrained in. Okay, so um, Sonic is probably my favorite video game series of all time, to tell the
Sure.
truth. Um, I don't want to say that's why you'll see blue be such a theme with me. I think I just always have loved the color blue, and then Sonic was blue, so it just kind of
Yeah, it's a coincidence. There's nothing
yeah.
to do with Sonic at all.
but but I've always been in like the online Sonic community since I was like literally 4. So
Sure.
I I've had multitude of discussions with just random dudes about like what the best Sonic soundtrack is.
Mm-hmm.
And like I definitely have like jumped between uh Adventure 2 and
Mm-hmm.
Sonic Rush. But I don't know, today, right now, I think I gotta give it to Sonic Rush just as I think about it. Like in the work that Naganuma did on that, like he's like a great composer.
Yeah, like
And
I'm really
I
great.
try to emulate him. And like when it comes to like my current sound, like he's definitely an inspiration. And you know, the funny thing is, like, I try to do this. I don't know why. It's just what something that feels right. I tend to shout out my inspirations in some way. So, like, when you listen to "Welcome to the Black Hole" off of off of Days in the Dream, the intro track, you'll hear me mention him,
Oh,
like
that's
in a track.
right.
Yeah, yeah. I literally, I like shout him out at one point, and I don't know, it's just something I always do. I'll tend to shout out my inspirations, like literally in the track in some way.
There's
Um,
That's so cool. And like, and there's such a like, I'm sure if bands are allowed to do that. Like, like there's something about where rap you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do. There's so much more freedom in this in your whole genre. Like that's so cool.
yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's another reason that like I started to gravitate towards hyperpop because I just feel like it's like such a freeing genre, like you said, and like rap is too. Like obviously, rap's always gonna be like my first love.
Yeah, dude,
Like
that's your major and hyperpop's your minor. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it. That is an awesome way of putting it.
yeah,
I
like
love that.
it's exactly kind of the way that I see it. Like, there's no other you could totally minor in something, and that's the freedom to change and that whole thing. But I don't see you doing anything else but like rapping your heart out for the rest of your making music career.
I don't think I could do anything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could, but this is the thing is that you fucking love it. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. That the
Yeah,
craft
no,
is
that's what I
there.
meant. Like, yeah, I could, and probably throughout my career, you may see me try a myriad of things. Like,
Yeah.
that I'm an experimental guy, who likes to experiment. So you probably will see me try some things here and there, but you're
Mhm.
always gonna see me go back to rap at the end of the day, because I'll never be able to let it go. I mean, it is the music that saved my life, in my opinion. Like that's how I'll always look at it. And that's how I'll always look at like those dudes that I was inspired by.
Mhm.
So I'm always gonna end up back here, no matter where I go. This is home base. So
It's fucking sick. I love it. And okay, so I wanted to kind of get into the nitty-gritty stuff that when it comes to like uh the real life portion of making music like this, what it's like to be a DIY rapper. What's because you're kind of my first person talking to you about this, I would love to know, like, you go to shows, you go to rap shows, you go to seeing bands. What are the main difference between going to like a DIY rap show and like a DIY, like, rap, or a DIY emo show or DIY band show?
the main difference, the funny thing about it is, like, and I've been to a lot of both, obviously.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of bands, I've seen a lot of rappers, I've seen a lot of DJs.
Yeah.
At this point, um, I don't know how much of a difference there really is.
That's
I
what
mean,
I was
besides
fucking hoping to hear.
yeah, besides the fact that, like, a lot of like with a lot of with the DIY rap show, you're gonna see what you're probably gonna see is a guy up there with a mic, and he's got a DJ behind him, and maybe like, there's like like a MIDI board that,
Mhm.
like, it's got sounds into that. He might, sometimes I've seen people like remake the beat live as the rappers rapping to it.
That's crazy.
Like, so, you'll see stuff like that, which obviously is different from like, a five-piece band with, vocalist, guitar,
Mhm.
drummer, bassist, keyboard player. But other than that, like if we're talking about the vibe or like the vibe of the people that I meet, like when I
Mhm.
go there, I mean, it's usually the same. So um that's why like I just feel really comfortable, and it's cool that like one thing that I've been able to do recently is like at my shows, I've had a band. Like the
Mhm.
last couple of times that I performed, I was lucky to meet some really cool people through the Marrier, who you may know. Shout out the
Fuck yeah.
Marrier.
Oh, shout out.
Um,
Oh my god, I love them.
yeah, yeah. So I met some people through the Marrier, and they were really just down to work with me and like kind of like almost mix the two worlds, you know, because these dudes were like, from my understanding, like, their their um their home base is the emo sound, or like,
Yeah,
the
totally.
yes.
But there's also some rap stuff the way that the most recent thing that homie put out. Um, are you on the record?
Oh yeah, with the Marrier? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay,
on
okay, let's fucking go. Okay, there is so much overlap happening, and like you and I are getting closer and closer and closer. This is so sick.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, no. The Marrier, like yeah, I love making music. So yeah,
That's
I anytime that they hit me up, I'm down. I don't want to say too much right now about that. I don't know. But anytime they hit me up, I'm down,
fuck
and
yeah.
there will be more.
That's crazy. Okay, all right, because that was I remember I listened to that record that came out. I was like headphones in like at fucking Home Depot, and I just kind of like caught myself just like getting lost, like walking around listening to this record, and like um that's so interesting that it was you were that's on the server. I remember being like, dude, I thought Marrier, I thought this was like an emo band. There's like rap going on. Fuck is going on? This record is awesome. And it's just like that's really exciting to know that y'all have continued to talk and possibly and maybe work together in the future. That's so exciting. That's so cool. Um, I'm it's I the only reason why I wanted to ask the difference thing is something that I found really. I went to my first like actual rap show. About 2 months ago, I went to go see Denzel Curry because I'm obsessed with Kings of the Mischievous South. Like that shit, that record, like is perfect. Like I love that shit so much. And I went to go see him. He was at this big fucking place, and it's crazy to think that I think that rappers have to put all their energy into performing. There's no one else on that stage except for them. That was such a really, really cool experience that the only thing that they had to do is they had like, 2,000 people in front of them, and you couldn't there's kind of like the dance that you perform in when you're in a band where people are looking at your hands, people are looking at the way you stand. You've got like, mics and you got all this stuff. But then like the void of band equipment and it's just you and a microphone on stage and someone that's playing your tracks and doing those things. There's like it's just all eyes on you, and it's all eyes on, and it's kind of like there's a stress there that I like could not like I'm not sure if I can fucking handle that. I'm so glad I have a rest of a band to like divide the attention of like the eyes on that. So when performing, if you've ever performed by yourself, is there like just so much more pressure to like put on that performerness, that show for others?
Yeah, definitely is. Um, that's why, like, I've always loved. That's why, first of all, shout out to my band, shout out to my bandmates. I love you guys. Um, but yes, that is definitely one of the differences I felt between performing with them versus performing on my own, which yes, I have done. Back when I was just on like my own type of shit, or like just had a DJ or whatever. I always really appreciated being able to bring out like, one of my other friends who like, make music with me, just like on the rap scale too.
Mm-hmm.
Just cause like, any level for a guy that deals with anxiety, any level of a bit less attention as I'm up there sharing, like what I say, like when my music is like, it's like a literal part of me. Like I'm literally like, when I'm making music, it feels like I've like shoved my hand into myself and like ripped it out. And now I'm like like holding it up, putting it on display on stage.
Yeah.
And it is like the scariest thing, honestly. So yeah, I definitely feel the pressure. Still feel the pressure even like when I'm with my band, but it is a little less pressure, especially knowing that like I'm up there with like dudes who like believe in me and like understand what I'm doing and are
Uh-huh.
behind me like like 100%. So it really does mean a lot. And yes, there definitely is some pressure when you're up there alone.
Mhm.
That's why I will always have respect, especially for dudes like Denzel Curry who really bring anytime I've seen Denzel Curry perform, like he brought that shit. Uh,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Like I think there's like I was just kind of astounded, and I just got me thinking about like, oh my god, there's when you're in a band and you have multiple people on that stage, the eyes on you is diluted and it feels less, and you get to share that with everyone. It's deflected and it's owned by everyone on stage. But like if I felt all of the eyes just on me, like I think I would fucking explode. Like I think it's just like there's something to see people do that. And like I caught myself like just looking up like rappers that I like and watching them and just like finding a live performance of them and like trying to find earlier versions of it. And like I tried to find deep cuts of like weird fucking venues of like seeing the Tyler the Creator play. Like I like any Wolfgang shit, like any Golf Wang stuff where they were doing like early stuff. Like I there's something about like there isn't a difference when it comes to DIY from being in a band or if you're rapping, it's all going to be in weird clubs. It's all going to be in like these weird bars and stuff. And the only thing is this fucking music thing. And it's the coolest thing on the fucking planet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me and my friend who's kind of also like my manager, like
Mhm.
we talk about it all the time, how like over time, like over the last 10 years, like these two scenes have kind of started to like, you
Totally.
know, yeah, started to like overlap more and more. Like I don't know if it was always there because I I I I I wasn't always there, but,
Mhm.
from my perspective of, like, when I, like, really started going to shows and really getting into the music scene, which again probably begins around 2018, I've just seen, like, these 2 worlds, like, just kinda come together, like, more and more, and I don't know, I'm just, like, really happy to see it. I'm, like, stoked as fuck to see it, honestly.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
really fucking cool. Like, I think that, I spent the first 75 episodes of doing this podcast basically just like, I think, I would say the first 40 episodes of me doing this was really, the middle of me, starting a band. And it was like, I wanted to interview bands and like talk about the things that I was going through. And I wanted to hear how they were going through stuff. Cause like, it was more just, is my am I is my head in the right place while I'm like, doing this. And now that I've been doing this for, 4 years, I'm like, okay, I've got a pretty good head on my shoulders on how I like this. I'm good. And so like the last like 30 or so episodes, I was like, cool, just gonna talk to bands about, their experiences and we can relate to a bunch of stuff. But then I started thinking, I'm like, DIY is more than just this band thing. Like there's so much stuff going on. And I didn't think about it really until I saw Denzel and I was like, I need to find some fucking like I want to talk to some DIY rap people where, I want to kind of show like that this is, my whole thing is DIY or die. And like it's not just bands and stuff. Emo and metal and rap or all of these shows are the same people are going to all these shows. And honestly, I think there was the moment when I saw people moshing in Denzel Curry where I was like, it's all the same shit. This is all the fucking same shit. We're all here to kind of fucking bleed a little bit.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, yeah. And like again, like from my perspective, I really from again, I don't know everything about music history. I'm not gonna claim that. I don't know if this is correct, but from my perspective, the first time I saw that shit was like when I was like watching like one of those old like a 2013 like Tyler the Creator show. And like I just was seeing mosh pits and shit, and I was just like, "Yo, this is lit!" Like,
This is this is cool. Like I'll like all right. So I'm at the Curry show and I'm at the top. I'm 37. I'm only gonna mosh when I'm like fucking like if my wife lets me, honestly. That's
gotcha.
straight up, it's such a safety thing. And like if I'm at a show by myself, I'll totally fucking get in there, like, catch me 30 seconds and then having to get my ass out of there. But like the coolest thing that I saw was like, first of all, the crowd was like insane. Everyone was fucking in. There was barely anybody up on the rafters. Everyone just wanted to get in the center. Um, and I saw I saw a person holding up a DS, recording the show. That was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my whole life. And then I also saw someone just holding a vinyl copy of The Kings of Mischievous Shadow Volume 2 just in the air the entire show. And it was just like there's something it seemed more intense than like any DIY emo show that I've ever been to. And like there's something about the DS that's just going to be in my head for the rest of time where I'm like that should be people should be recording every show on a DS. That's so fucking cool.
It is like insane that you say that because listen, I went to this Food House show. Food House is like a duo, like a hyperpop duo for those who don't know.
I'm gonna write that shit down because that's
Yeah,
sick as fuck.
definitely check out Food House. They're sick. And I saw someone doing the same thing, like, and I had just never seen that before. Like, someone was like recording the show with like, I think it was a 3DS, but nevertheless,
It's still
I was like, yeah, I was just like, yo, this is so cool. Like, I might do this the next time I go to a show. So it's just hilarious to hear that, like, and I've like talked to other people about that since then. And I guess it's like a new thing that like people do now. So yeah,
so there's this thing. I've been kind of like, all right, so this last year I've gotten really, really into like vintage shit. Like, I got a raise in my job, and then I was like, okay, I have access to like spend money on like things that I like maybe actually want rather than like only going to Marshalls for like clothes. And so I was like, okay, what do I want? What do I lean into? And I just kind of started leaning into like, oh, I found this fucking Kingdom Hearts shirt on Depop. I can fucking buy this now. All right, I can. Oh, that's kind of crazy. Jinkos are coming back. These big shoes are coming back. Oh, people are recording on like $50 cameras. And there's been this kind of like, I think that everyone is looking backwards towards this 90s thing in like in such a clarity way, early 2000s thing. Everything's just getting low poly is like really into like a really huge thing right now. Like, and I'm like, there's something really, really cool about your music mixed with the ideas of like low poly. Like, I would love to see like a fucking Neo Kiio music video done by like where it looks like old fucking PS1 graphics. Like that's what it feels like listening to. And there's everything is kind of harkening back to an older time. And I think I tried to find out why. And what I've learned is that when things are going bad in the world, people like to look back at a time when things were great. And everyone has decided that like between 1994 and 2002 was like the perfect time.
yeah, yeah. Hey, well, I don't know. I really love that time too. I mean, for the part of it that I was there, but
Yeah.
yeah, because I was born towards the end of the '90s. But I no, I definitely get it. And like I said, I mean, like even going back to like the video games from that time, like when the years that you just mentioned are like when like Sonic was at his best, and that's like when
Yeah.
Parts was coming out, and that's when like you said, like PS1, PS2 era, and I guess even dating back in that like 94, I guess that would be like not
Yeah,
quite
this is
'96, but
it's like Sega Saturn, like
yeah,
it's
Sega
yeah,
Saturn.
yeah,
Yeah,
dog.
and I love the bot. I never had a Saturn. My first system was a GameCube, but I've always loved like I've on emulators and shit. Like
Yes.
yeah, I should literally. How can I not mention that? Okay, okay, I'm gonna mention this for the first time right now. Okay, so Days into Dreams, um, that it's supposed to be a play on Nights into Dreams.
Shut
Just
oh,
just so
okay.
everybody knows. Uh,
The Jester the flying around Jester game?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because yeah, because if you
Feels
play that
good.
game, yeah, because if you play that game, it's like a lot about like um, kid dealing with like shit like in their life at the time. Like that's kind of like the theme of the game. Like
Oh
the game
god.
like you're flying around as like the as like knights, but like the storyline is about like that kid who's like dealing with anxiety and shit. And I just felt like it felt so well, fit so well with, the themes I was going for lyrically, that is why that kind of became the title. But yeah,
Perfect. That
yeah,
the through line, the shoelace that has gone through the whole thing, it makes so much sense.
yes,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it's
You
sick
really are
that you
doing it.
mentioned better, huh?
You're it's so cool that you've done like the things that you have grabbed onto to be your brand, the things that are like um the things that are important to you, the things that are like are really, really trending right now. Like everything is making sense for not only why people are fucking with your music, it just makes a lot of sense. I think everyone culturally is feeling that this is the way things are going. Things everyone needs to be looking, everyone's trying to find when a good time was, because no one's having a good time now. And so everyone's making music or participating in art that harkens back to an older era when people are remembering when they had a good time. So like you
Yeah,
are participating in the best parts of culture right now.
yeah. I'm trying it. I appreciate that, but yeah, I'm trying. And yeah, you're right. The world situation does leave something to be desired, does it not? So
Yeah, I just think that
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that like, if you look at like, if I look at my feed right now on TikTok, I follow a lot of like, for some reason, I've found that a bunch of people have started making like really ridiculous, like low poly, like music videos and shit. And like it's paired with a lot of break beats and it's ridiculous and it's fight scenes and it's like I have just all my stuff is like getting really goofy and weird. And like when I go to shows now, I see people wearing big fucking Jinko pants and like cargo pants are coming back and like camo is weird. But like in the South, it like kind of makes sense. So it's like I've been just noticing just these trends of like people leaning into uh old technology. I think like I saw I have like the craziest desire to buy like a fucking iPod and like start like holding all of my music only on that. Like I want to start doing that. Like maybe buy CDs again and like I've started getting tapes. I've started like, collecting only physical copy things because I don't trust the fact that I'm only licensing games that I'm buying rather than actually owning a physical game. Like everything sucks right now. So
oh yeah,
I think we're all just kind of like trying to make do here.
oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. The video game industry right now is, yeah, no, I'm,
Fucked.
yeah, I'm with you. Um, yes, yeah, no, in physical media is definitely gonna like probably continue to trend because of just like what's happening in so many different ways and so many different avenues. I mean, we could talk about like what's going on with like, they're trying to like pull us away from like physical games. And
Yeah.
we've been in the streaming era music wise for like a decent amount of time now. And that's like made vinyls kind of come back, and now CDs are coming back. Yes, yeah, no, I definitely see what you're talking about. I see it too, and I feel the same. So yeah,
It's just such a reflective thing on like how everyone is feeling. I think it's like a total litmus test where it's like, what are the sales? How are vinyl sales doing? And if you see it going up, it means that like shit's not good. Or like the fact that like cassettes are doing well. Like
yeah,
it should mean that shit's not doing great right now. It's just so strange that you could totally just see the inverse effects of that. It's a bummer. But it has done one thing, but it's shown where people believe when things get hard, people gravitate to the things that they like. And suddenly you get to see the things that everyone kind of gravitates to. And one thing is kind of the sound that you're pulling on, which is like this hyper pop rap video game Anamanaguchi fucking like there's just so much cool stuff that you're touching on that makes me feel like that you're all like literally on the pulse of like culture at the moment.
I mean, maybe I am. I don't know. The funny thing
Yeah,
about it
I'd
is,
say if more people listen to your record, people are like, okay, the homie's got like more stuff that the fact that you harken back to that old times, people just nostalgia is in, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah. You're not the second person to say something like that. So maybe it's true. I can't. I would love to act like I planned that, but re- really all it was like I just wanted to speak on my experience as a kid, and like just because I don't know, maybe what would be the word, maybe subconsciously, like I'm in the same place as everyone else, like you're saying.
Mhm.
So where my brain went to was the same place that everyone else's is, and then I made an
It's
album about
flowing
it.
through you. It's flowing through
Yeah.
you. You just like, everyone's got to hold on to those points, and you're holding on just to shinier points that no one knew was the shiny point. Like that makes so much sense. I think what I want to do, I want to play a song from the record.
Okay.
I want you to pick it. I want, what I'm gonna, we won't have to play it. I'm gonna edit it in. But
Okay.
you just pick a song that you want to hear from the record. I'm gonna play it.
What's a song that I want to hear from the record? I feel like there's no choice but right now, but Neon Dreamland.
Okay, done. Okay, so this is uh Neon Dreamland by Neo Kiio, and it's also featuring Hestwick.
Play my part, 'cause this life is insane on. Don't talk that shit, but they all keep it hating on. Riding on the same damn wall that I paint on. Knew what it was, you don't even gotta say none. They all wanna know what I really do beyond. Never do talk, so just tell me dream on. Caught in and out, but I see way beyond. Everything is green, yeah, everything is neon. Dropping like flies in my city with a P9. Don't add up, even try with a T9. Can't get smoke, so I walk with a P9. Get too close, you might end up in dream on. And it's all I know.
Hell yeah, that was Neon Dreamland by Neo Kiio. Dog, thank you so much for fucking hopping on and like shooting the shit with me. I'm really happy that I'm like diving more into this. If you have anybody you want me to like fucking talk to, I want you to DM me like their stuff, because I'm like so interested in like learning more.
Absolutely. I got you.
Fuck yeah. Okay, cool. Listen, you have a killer rest of your day. Be safe. DIY or die, and just like,
Sorry.
let's fucking hang out. You're cool as fuck.
Hey, likewise, the feeling is very mutual. It was
Hell yeah,
awesome.
dog. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Hell yeah. Have a good one.